Hello everyone, this is Dharmbi sir here. So today we are going to continue with chapter 7 of grade 12 maths, which is integrals. And today we are going to introduce a new topic. Till now we have learned about indefinite integral, but today we are going to start the topic definite integral. Clear? And in this video we will learn the method of solving definite integral at the limit of a sum. Clear? So let's start. Now first let me explain you what a definite integral. Now till now we have solved integrals in which after the integration we used to write a plus c. If you remember that plus c was some constant because the value of the integral depends on the value of c. Clear? And for different values of c the derivative is going to remain be same. But in case of definite integral we are not going to write the value of c because it will have a definite integral. The word suggests definite. It cannot have many values, only one will be there. And how are we going to find that value? It is using the integral. If you see the symbol integral a to b f(x) dx, where a and b are the lower limit and upper limit of the integral. Clear? So we are going to evaluate definite integral in two ways. First, the definite integral at the limit of the sum, which we are going to learn today, and the second is integral a to b f(x) dx equals to fp minus fa, where capital F is your integration and after integration we have put the limit. This method we will learn in the coming videos. Okay, so today we will learn about the definite integral at the limit of the sum. Now if you look in the figure, we have a curve qs and the definite integral of any function fx in the interval a to b. You can see that x equal to a and x equals to b are there in the qs endpoints, is the area bounded by the curve y is equal to fx, where fx is our curve, and the coordinates x equals to a and x equals to b, and the x-axis given by. So if you see at the area pqsr, curve and the x-axis, and x equals to a and x equals to b, this is our definite integral. Clear? In the limit a to b, and this limit is given as integral a to b fx dx is equal to b minus a, where b and a are our limits, upper limit minus lower limit, limit n tends to infinite, 1 upon n, fa plus h plus and so on, fa plus n minus 1 into h. Or this can also be written as a to b fx dx equals to limit h tends to 0, where h is equal to what? B minus a upon n tends to 0 as n tends to infinite. Clear? And this is equal to limit h tends to 0, h fa plus h plus and so on, plus fa plus n minus 1 into h. So for solving a definite integral at the limit of sum, we must have a function fx. Then we are going to find the value of the function at fa, then fa plus h plus and so on, fa plus n minus 1 into h, and put those values in the given limit. And after putting the value, we are going to solve the limit as we have learned in grade 11. Clear? So pause and note down this point. So let's start exercise 7.8, and the question 1 is evaluate the following definite integral as the limit of sums. It is integral a to b x dx. So here our fx is equal to what? X. So by the definition we know that integral a to b fx dx equals to b minus a, limit n tends to infinite, 1 upon n, fa plus h plus and so on, fa plus n minus 1 into h, where h equals to what? B minus a upon n. While explaining the definition I have told you that h equals to b minus a upon n. Now here you can see that the lower limit a is equal to a and the upper limit b is equal to b only, and fx equals to x. So putting these values, we will get integral a to b x dx equals to b minus a into limit n tends to infinite, 1 upon n, a value of fa plus a plus h, which is the value of fa plus h, and so on, a plus 2h, a plus 3h, and so on, and the final will be a plus n minus 1 into h. So b minus 1 and n tends to infinite, 1 upon n. You can see that we have a n number of times, so it is a plus 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 up to n number of times, plus h will be h plus 2h plus 3h up to n minus 1 into h. So b minus a, limit n tends to infinite, 1 upon n. We have added a n times, so it is na, plus taking h common, we are getting 1 plus 2 plus 3 up to n minus 1. So b minus a, limit n tends to infinite, 1 upon n, na plus h, and by the AP 1 2 3 up to n minus 1 number of terms. So using that formula of AP, we will get h into n minus 1 into n upon 2. So the b minus a limit n tends to infinite 1 upon n na plus h into n minus 1 upon 2. So you can see that b minus a limit n tends to infinite n upon n, we have taken n common, so it will be a plus n minus 1 h upon 2. So n cancel, we will get b minus a limit n tends to infinite a plus n minus 1 h upon 2, and the value of h was b minus a upon n. So putting that value, we will get b minus a limit n tends to infinite a plus n minus 1 b minus a upon 2n. So taking n common from the numerator and dividing by n, we will get b minus a limit n tends to infinite a plus 1 minus 1 upon n b minus a upon 2. And since 1 upon n tends to 0 because n tends to infinite, so we are getting b minus a limit will become a plus b minus a upon 2. So after simplifying this value, we will get our final answer as half b square minus a square. So we have to apply the properties of limits which we have learned in grade 11th if we are solving the definite integral by using the limit of sum. Clear? So pause and note down the solution. Next we have question number 2. Evaluate the following definite integral as a limit of sums 0 to 5 x plus 1 dx. So here our fx is equal to x plus 1, a is equal to 0, b is equal to 5. So and we know that integral a to b fx dx equals to b minus a limit n tends to infinite 1 upon n fa plus h, fa plus 2h, fa plus 3 up to f a plus n minus 1 into h, and a value of h equals to what? B minus a upon n. So putting a is equal to 0, b is equal to 5, and fx equals to x plus 1, we will get h equals to what? 5 minus 0 upon n, that is 5 upon n. Using all these values of a, b, h in the limit, we will get integral 0 to 5 x plus 1 dx equals to 5 minus 0 limit n tends to infinite 1 upon n f0 plus f5 by n plus and so on fn minus 1 5 upon n. So 5 into limit n tends to infinite 1 upon n, f0 is equal to 1, f5 by n equals to 5 by n plus 1 and so on, and the value of last will be 1 plus 5 n minus 1 upon n. So 5 limit n tends to 1 upon n. So we have 1 n number of times, 1 plus 1 up to n number of times, plus 5 by n, plus 2 5 by n, plus 3 5 by n, plus and so on, n minus 1 5 by n. So taking 5 by n common from that, we will get, now if we have added 1 n number of times, we will get n. So taking 5 by n common, we will get 1 plus 2 plus 3 up to n minus 1. So 5 limit n tends to infinite 1 upon n, n plus 5 by n, and it is the sum of natural number, n minus 1 natural numbers, it is n minus 1 upon 2. Clear? So after simplification, we are getting 5 limit n tends to infinite 1 upon n into n plus 5 n minus 1 upon 2. Taking n common or multiplying by 1 by n, entire by 1 by n, we will get 5 limit n tends to infinite 1 plus 5 by 2 into 1 minus 1 upon n, and since n tends to infinite, so 1 upon n will be 0. So using that, we are getting 5 1 plus 5 by 2, which on simplification gives 35 by 2, which is the value of the following given definite integral. Clear? So pause and note down the solution. Moving to question 3. Evaluate the following definite integral as a limit of sum integral 2 to 3 x square dx. So we know that integral a to b fx dx equals to b minus a limit n tends to infinite 1 upon n fa plus h plus fa plus 2h and so on f plus a minus 1 into h, and where h equals to b minus a upon n. So here we can see that a is equal to 2, b is equal to 3, fx equals to x square. So h will be equal to what? B minus a upon n, that is 3 minus 2 upon n, that which is 1 upon n. Therefore the integral 2 to 3 x square dx will be equal to 3 minus 2 limit n tends to infinite 1 upon n f2 plus 1 upon n plus f2 plus 2 upon n plus and so on f2 plus n minus 1 upon 1 n. So limit n tends to infinite 1 upon n, f2 is equal to 2 square plus f2 plus 1 upon n equals to 2 plus 1 upon n whole square plus 2 plus 2 upon n whole square plus and so on 2 plus n minus 1 upon n whole square. Clear? So we are getting limit n tends to infinite 1 upon n into 2 square plus 2 square plus 1 upon n square plus 2 into 2 1 applying a plus b whole square in the entire equation. This becomes limit n tends to infinite 1 upon n 2 square plus 2 square plus 2 square n number of times, then 1 upon n square plus 2 upon n whole square plus and so on n minus 1 whole square. Then 2 into 2 taking 2 common, we will get 1 upon n plus 2 upon n plus 3 upon n up to n minus 1 upon n. Clear? So we are getting limit n tends to infinite 1 upon n 4n 2 square is 4, so 4 n number of times, that is 4n, plus taking 1 upon n square common, we will get 1 square, 2 square, 3 square up to n minus 1 whole square, and taking 4 and 1 upon n common, we will get 4 upon n, so 1 plus 2 plus 3 up to n minus 1. So applying the formulas we have learned in grade 11th, the sum of the squares, we are getting limit n tends to infinite 1 upon n 4n plus 1 upon n square into n minus 1 2n minus 1 upon 6 plus 4 upon n minus 1 upon 2. I hope you remember the formulas. So limit n tends to infinite 1 upon n 4n plus taking or multiplying by n square, or you can simply take n common. We are getting n into 1 minus 1 upon n 2 minus 1 upon n upon 6 plus 4n upon minus 4 upon 2. So which gives limit n tends to infinite 4 plus 1 upon 6, 1 minus 1 upon n, 2 minus 1 upon n, plus 2 minus 2 upon n. And since since n tends to infinite, so 1 upon n will be 0. So this gives 4 plus 2 upon 6 plus 2, which is equal to 19 upon 3. So this is the value of our definite integral. So pause and note down the solution. Next is question number 4. Evaluate the definite integral as the limit of sum, and the integral is integral 1 to 4 x square minus x dx. So we have the integral I equals to 1 to 4 x square minus x dx, which can be written as integral 1 to 4 x square dx minus integral 1 to 4 x dx. So taking it as I1 and I2, we are getting I1 equals to integral 1 to 4 x square dx and I2 equals to integral 1 to 4 x dx. So we will solve I1 and I2 separately. So we know that integral a to b fx dx equals to b minus a limit n tends to infinite 1 upon n fa plus h plus fa plus n minus h, where h equals to b minus a upon n. Now for the first integral I1 1 to 4 x square dx, a is equal to 1, b is equal to 4 and fx equals to x square. Therefore h becomes 4 minus 1 upon n, that is 3 upon n. 1 will be equal to integral 1 to 4 x square dx, which is equal to 4 minus 1 limit n tends to infinite 1 upon n. So f1 plus h plus and so on, f1 plus n minus 1 into h. So 3 limit n tends to infinite 1 upon n. Now f1 equals to 1 square, f1 plus h equals to 1 plus 3 upon n whole square, plus and so on. We are getting 1 plus n minus 1 3 upon n whole square. So 3 limit n tends to infinite, it is 1 square plus 1 is applying a plus b whole square in the entire equality. We will get, and since we have 1 square n number of times, so this will be 3 limit n tends to infinite 1 upon n into 1 square plus 1 square plus 1 square up to n number of times. Taking 3 upon n square common, we will get 1 square plus 2 square up to n minus 1 whole square, and taking 2 into 3 upon n common, we will get 1 plus 2 plus 3 up to n minus 1. So again we have the sum of whole square. So this will give 3 limit n tends to infinite 1 upon n plus 9 upon n square n minus 1 n to n minus 1 upon 6 and 6 upon n minus 1 n upon 2, which on simplification or taking 1 upon n common will give 3 limit n tends to infinite 1 upon n and 9n upon 6, 1 minus 1 upon n, 2 minus 1 upon n plus 6n minus 6 upon 2. Clear? Which gives 3 limit n tends to infinite 1 plus 9 upon 6, 1 minus 1 upon n, 2 minus 1 upon n plus 3 minus 3 upon n. So since limit n tends to infinite, so 1 upon n equals to what? 0. So putting this, we will get 3 into 1 plus 3 plus 3, which is equal to 27. So value of integral I1, that the first integral, is equal to 21. Now I2 was integral 1 to 4x dx. So here a is equal to 1, b is equal to 4, fx equals to x, and h equals to b minus h, 4 minus 1 upon 3, that is 3 upon n. Therefore I2 becomes 4 minus 1 limit n tends to infinite 1 upon n f1 plus h and so on, a plus n minus h. So 3 limit n tends to infinite 1 upon n, 1 plus 1 upon h plus and so on, 1 plus n minus 1 into h, which is 3 limit n tends to infinite 1 upon n into 1 plus 3 upon n plus and so on, 1 plus n minus 1 3 upon n. So we have 1 n number of times, and taking 3 upon n, it will be 1 plus 2 plus up to n minus 1. So which gives n plus 3 upon n into n minus 1 into n upon 2. So 3 limit n tends to infinite 1 upon n, 1 plus 3 upon 2, 1 minus 1 upon n, and since n tends to infinite, so 1 upon n equals to 0. So we get 3 into 1 plus 3 by 2, which is equal to 15 by 2. Therefore our second integral I2 will be equal to 15 by 2. So putting the values of I2 and I3 from equation 2 and 3 in equation 1, we will get I equals to I1 plus I2. So 21 minus 15 upon 2, which is equal to 27 upon 2. Clear? So pause and note down the solution. Next, question number 5. Evaluate the following definite integrals as the limit of sums. Integral is -1 to 1 e power x dx. Clear? So we know that integral a to b fx dx equals to b minus a limit n tends to infinite 1 upon n f a plus h plus and so on f a plus n minus 1 into h, where h equals to b minus a upon n. So here a is equal to -1, b is equal to 1, and fx equals to e power x. So we have h equals to 1 plus 1 upon 2, that is 2 upon n. Therefore the integral I will be equal to 1 plus 1 b minus a, we will get 1 plus 1 limit n tends to infinite 1 upon n f minus 1 plus f minus 1 plus 2n plus f minus 1 plus 2 into 2n plus and so on f minus 1 plus n minus 1 into 2 upon n, which gives 2 limit n tends to infinite 1 upon n e power minus 1 plus e power minus 1 plus 2 upon n plus e power minus 1 plus 2 into 2 upon n plus and so on e power minus 1 plus n minus 1 into 2 upon n, which is giving 2 limit n tends to infinite 1 upon n e power minus 1 common, we'll get 1 plus e power 2 upon n plus e power 4 upon n plus and so on e power n minus 1 upon 2n. Clear? So applying the property of limit, we'll get 2 limit n tends to infinite e power minus 1 upon n. We have used the sum of GP, which we have learned in grade 11th. So it is 2 limit n tends to infinite e power minus 1 upon n e power 2 n minus 1 upon e power 2 upon n minus 1. So e power minus 1 into 2, e power minus 1 is constant, so taking that out of the limit, we will get e power minus 1 into 2 limit n tends to infinite 1 upon n e square minus 1 upon e power 2 upon n minus 1. Clear? And since n tends to infinite, so 1 upon n equals to what? 0. So putting that, we are getting e power minus 1 2 into e square minus 1 upon 2, and limit h tends to 0 e power h minus 1 upon h equals to 1. So we are getting e square minus 1 upon e. So its simplification gives e minus 1 upon e. Clear? So pause and note down the solution. So I have solved almost every sum except question number 6 of the exercise 7.8. I am leaving question 6 for you to solve, and also solve the examples before the exercise. Clear? Thank you and all the best.